Hi, Steve Riley. Welcome to this episode of Great Practice, Great Life. And you can have a great life or a great practice without new business. And today I've asked one of my favorite people, Denise, to come on and talk to you about how to cost effectively and impactfully get new business for your practice. So with that, Denise, you've been on before. You've been featured in our Double Your Revenue Workshop podcast. You've been a frequent speaker for Atticus, frequent lecturer for Atticus. You've done workshops around the country. So I really, really appreciate you taking the time to be here. And of all days, your birthday. So happy birthday.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We won't discuss how old I am.
No. And nor am I going to sing you happy birthday, which was a request I know some people had put together to try and get me to sing you happy birthday, but I'm not doing it. I'm just not doing it. I have complete
one thing I wanted for my birthday.
I have complete confidence it will be edited out between Jennifer and Danny and his team. It'll be edited out. So just out of mercy, for our listeners and myself. So here we are talking about how to get new business in. And in your opinion, what's the simplest, most cost-effective way of getting new business in the door?
It's to ask for it and really focusing on the referral sources. You said cost effective referrals are the most cost effective way to get new business. So, how do you get referrals in an easier way or a more cost effective way? It's pretty simple. Just ask. And I know attorneys struggle with that a lot. They don't want to sound salesy. They don't want to come across as cheesy, so to speak. But it's really, when we talked about it a little bit ago, just rehearsing that ask. And so who are you targeting? What are you asking for? But rehearsing it almost like, a rock star would go out and rehearse their concert before they go on stage. Everybody has a dress rehearsal. So it'll become, the more that you rehearse your ask, the more easily it's going to roll off your tongue and it's going to sound so natural.
What do you mean by top 20 list? Some people will not know what you're talking about.
So your top 20 referral sources. So again, you can't measure what you don't track. So we want you tracking where your great referrals are coming from. You might have someone who sent you 10 referrals, but if they were C&B clients or C&B cases, you don't want that person really referring to you anymore. Well, and there are a couple of ways to do that. One is just to tell them. Two is have a very crucial conversation with your referral source of, hey, this is my expertise area. This is my sweet spot. This is what my A client looks like. And then watch it and see if they get better, but really tracking and seeing where your great clients are coming from, your A client, and then tracking and seeing where your C&B clients are coming from. So that's huge. I think a lot of times attorneys will look at it like, oh, that guy sent me 20 cases last year. He's phenomenal, but they don't sit down and take the time to analyze where they bring cases. And so it's super important to differentiate.
Yeah, so really the top 20 list is more or less a diagnostic tool for you to go back and figure out where you're getting business now and tracking it. Now, we're kind of talking about it carefully, but if you've never worked with Atticus, the first time I did this as an Atticus member, and I had to go back and figure out where my cases were coming from, what my good cases were, and who were the top referral sources, it was incredibly insightful, incredibly educational, because the people I was spending time with that I thought were great referral sources ended up not being. And the people I wasn't spending time with who ended up sending me really great cases weren't getting the attention and focus and the follow-up they probably deserved because they were sending so much work my way. So while it sounds like something simple, it's kind of cross-checking your own feelings about it. So if you don't have a top 20 list, and if you have, and you're an Atticus member and you've done it maybe like 1 year ago, 2 years ago, and you haven't thought about it, I'm just going to encourage you to set aside a little bit of time, 10, 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and just look at the past 90 days and say, where did you get your top cases from? And what was the referral source? Now, you want to be clear that when you do the exercise, you distinguish ads, any form of advertising you're doing online, any form of other campaigns, but sometimes Google and sometimes your website gets credit for referrals because someone who, may say to your intake team, I found you via the website, may actually have been referred in. They just Googled your name but a former client referred them in. So that's one of the things I just want to be careful or tell you to be careful about. Sometimes the whole interwebs get a lot of credit for referrals because people are just going there. And if someone doesn't ask the follow-up question, they don't realize that the lead actually was referral. They just went to the website for simplicity purposes. So what else, Denise, as we move through this, you kind of mentioned thank yous. Is that a part of the process?
It's a huge part of the process. And I think with technology, as wonderful as technology is, makes our lives easier. People forget the handwritten thank you card. And the handwritten thank you card stands out for that exact reason. And so if you can take 10-minute blocked, we talk about time blocking all the time. Block some time twice a week. So on Wednesday afternoons or Friday mornings, you're not that busy. Block out 15 minutes to send those thank you cards, because a couple of things, you recognize that they made an effort to refer somebody in. That makes them feel good. And it gets your name across their desk and in front of them again. So we talk about TOMA, top of mind awareness. It's just another way to stay top of mind with that referral source. And it's a super easy way to do it. But the handwritten thank you card, I think, stands out, especially nowadays, more so than maybe it did 30 years ago.
Denise, as we start to close for today, what would you like to recommend or encourage our listeners to do at this point?
Yeah. Pick 3 things from what you've heard today. Maybe something stood out, but pick 3 that you can work on to improve your marketing machine over the next 30 days. And write them down. Don't think you're going to remember them. So definitely write them down. I actually should have said that in the beginning of this podcast. Take notes while you're listening, because, it's the biggest lie I tell myself, that I'll remember that. I don't need to write it down. You won't remember it. So I would say pick 3 things, set some goals for yourself, and over the next 30 days, focus on those 3 things. It could be practicing the ask. It could be identifying who you want to work with, who are those great referral sources in your marketplace that you feel align with your goals and your values. And it could just be identifying or setting a goal that I want to increase my referrals by 25% over the next 3 months. So whatever it is that you think would be great for you over the next 30 days, write those down and start working on those.